Ladies and gentlemen, your attention. We request that you get ready. The Chief of the South African National Defence Force is arriving. And upon his arrival, I will request everybody to please stand and remain standing until the Chief and his procession have taken their seats. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Please be seated. The MEC of Transport and Community Safety, Mr. Namane Masemola, on behalf of the Premier of the province, members of the Provincial Executive Council who are present here today, the Secretary for Defense, Dr. Sam Gulube, members of the Provincial Legislature, military ombuds, retired Lieutenant General Vusi Masondo, Executive Mayor of the host city of Polokwane, Councillor Tanding Kadimeng, members of the Military Command Council, generals, admirals, members of the Military Advisory and Attaché Corps, officers, students on the SDSP and JCSD courses, officers, warrant officer of the SANDF, Master Chief Warrant Officer Mutusi Khaladi, warrant officers on warrant officer development course, warrant officers, non-commissioned officers, soldiers, captains of industry, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Solishoke, we bid you a hearty welcome to today's capability demonstration as part of Armed Forces Week 2020. We have got indeed an interesting program prepared here for you, and we hope that you are going to enjoy it here with us. Before we start, I want to first ask the chaplain of the South African Army, Chaplain Reverend Masemola, to open the proceedings with a prayer. Muruti. Thank you.
Caps. 1, 2, 3, 1. Thank you, Program Director. Our scripture lesson this morning will be drawn from Psalm 121, and I will read only verse 11. I lift up my eyes unto the mountains. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. That is the reading of the Word of God. Chief South African National Defence Force and your honored guests, from your position, sir, if you look to your 12 o'clock, let us pause for a moment and appreciate the blue skies ahead of us. In front of you, sir, is the terrain for this demonstration, green and beautiful. All these were created by God Almighty for our use. Within the terrain, sir, you will see that there are technology items that will be part of this demonstration. Among them are humans that will operate them. Say, when the two are brought together, they are referred to as weapon systems. These weapon systems, ladies and gentlemen, are not just for fun. They are instruments of peace and self-defense, defending what God has bestowed upon this beautiful country. Therefore, as we enjoy this demonstration, let us remember all this in front of us has been given unto us by the Lord for our peace and self-defense. Let us pray. Dear God, you, the creator of heaven and earth, we thank you this afternoon for the opportunity to be here and to witness this beautiful demonstration that will demonstrate that, yes, indeed, we are secure and that our God still loves us. Bless this occasion, O dear God, as we ask in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
On caps. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1.
Thank you very much, Chaplain. We are now hopeful that through your direct line above, the occasion has now been blessed. As you have observed, ladies and gentlemen, emergency services are here. You can rest assured that your safety, as always, is paramount to everything that we do. Ladies and gentlemen, in line with that theme of safety, I'm now going to introduce colleagues. Captain Nkauta from the South African Air Force, call sign Castro, and Major Johnson, call sign Maverick, who will be doing the safety briefing for us before we can commence. Colleagues, welcome.
Thank you, Colonel. Good afternoon, everybody. As I'm already introduced, Castro here. So for the emergency briefing for today, as you can all see, in front of you is basically the arena where everything will be happening. The capability demonstration is right in front of you. And to your right-hand side, that's very important, you'll find the ablution facilities and also the escape routes to get to safety. And the N1 also located on your right-hand side. Behind you is the assembly point, just past the building where you came through. And also that's the car park, and that's north orientation. To your left-hand side, you'll find there's a Charlie Coke, which will be later used for the capability demonstration, where the fighter jets will be dropping their weapons. And right in front of you, as I've said initially, that's the main arena where all the action will be happening. And in cases of emergencies, my colleague Maverick will just come forward and explain to you what will happen.
Thank you, Castro. Ladies and gentlemen, in case of an emergency, we require all of you to stay seated up until the uniform members designated will show you the way to the main assembly point. Now, as Castro just indicated, where you came in today to the arena, the assembly point where we'll evacuate to is right behind us at the car park, behind the big hangar. Then please refrain from smoking in the arena area. There are demarcated smoking areas right at the back. And if you require any assistance, please approach any uniform member and they will gladly assist you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maverick and Castro, ladies and gentlemen, please keep the information in mind that you have been given, because as we do this demonstration, and as I always say, safety is paramount to everything that we do, and we therefore request that you keep this in mind so that in an unlikely eventuality of something going wrong, you know exactly what to do where. Ladies and gentlemen, just a quick orientation of the gun line in front of you. The gun line stretches from left to right as you are seated. On the extreme left is the indirect fire group deployment, consisting out of 120 millimeter M5 mortar systems. Next, it is now on the right-hand side of the road where you will find the indirect fire support capability of our infantry in the form of the 81 millimeter mortar system, followed by the air defense artillery capabilities in the form of both the 35 millimeter as well as the 23 millimeter Bosvark. There are additional elements that will be part of the mobility demonstration. These, we will introduce them as they come in one by one, and eventually we will then integrate them in the integrated attack that we will be doing for your enjoyment later on. We also, ladies and gentlemen, have got a number of air assets that will be involved in this. As you know, Rooiwal bombing range is the home of the South African Air Force, and the South African Air Force, I can tell you, is out here in full force at their home, and they will continue to inspire our confidence and the confidence of the nation with the sounds of freedom as we continue with our program here today. We had moved our program to commence at 15 hours, so we are about 2 minutes away from the official start of the program that we hope that you will enjoy. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, please sit back, relax, and enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, just one administrative arrangement, please. As I said earlier on, we have got quite a number of air assets that will be involved here. Most of them will be rotary wing aircraft, helicopters, most of whom will be flying overhead from behind you over the positions where you are seated now. Your umbrellas, as well as your loose headdress, poses a serious threat to our air assets, please. We therefore request, and we will remind you throughout, we request that when we ask you to, please close your umbrella and put it away. If you have got a headdress that can be taken easily away by the wind, we also request that you remove that too, please. We will remind you of this continuously throughout the program today. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation then for the start of our demonstration here today, just a brief scenario. We are sitting here, in front of you is our area of operation within which we will be operating today. We are simulating a number of scenarios. First, we are going to simulate a terrorist base that has been identified in this area that needs to be debunked and destroyed completely in order to free this area of such acts. To this end, in terms of our plan, we will start off then by a vertical insertion of our eyes and ears on the ground. We will have our members that will be infiltrated here by means of a parachute. They will land in the area. They will then deploy as our initial battlefield surveillance. They will collect as much information as it is possible. They will feed it back to the command in order for us to confirm, first, that our plans are in line with what is on the ground, but secondly, if our plans are not in line, to adjust those such that we will then be able to achieve the mission. Immediately, ladies and gentlemen, you will see green smoke in front, indicating the landing zone for our paratroopers that are already up in the air. As they come in, we will be introducing them one by one. The technique, ladies and gentlemen, that they are utilizing is called HALO. This stands for High Altitude Low Opening. They will be utilizing the TA-300 parachutes. These are meant for them to be able to carry weight. As you can imagine, ladies and gentlemen, these people, when we deploy them such that they will be able to be self-sufficient for a period of time until additional forces link up with them or until they get exfiltrated from their area of operation. We will be doing the Halo jump today from the Oryx helicopter, and as you can hear it above, they are currently still gaining altitude, from where then they will exit and do a free fall initially. They will then open, and shortly they will land on the ground in front of you. As I said earlier on, ladies and gentlemen, these members will then be responsible for reconnaissance in this area. They will provide information back to command, and we will then make sure that we can then let the plans unfold in pursuit of the achievement of our mission for this operation. This reconnaissance team, ladies and gentlemen, will be a 4-man team. These are members from 5 special forces. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look high up in the air to your left, you will see that our reconnaissance teams are en route. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the versatility of the South African National Defence Force, first of all, this is one of the techniques we use to insert our force elements into our areas of operation as the first reconnaissance soldier touches down. It takes quite some time to train these people to the level of proficiency that they are in. It looks easy on the eye. However, we can confirm that indeed there is a lot of training and experience that goes into being able to do what these men are doing. As part of this technique, again, ladies and gentlemen, we also are able to infiltrate those members of the force that we require with specialist skills that may not be parachute qualified. For instance, in this case, you will see that we will also be bringing in a doctor that is not parachute qualified, but we will be bringing him also in by means of a tandem parachute, because in extended deployment areas where these men operate, they require some form of medical support. Skill and precision. Ladies and gentlemen, as we await the arrival of our medical specialist in the form of the doctor, who is coming in by means of a tandem. As I said earlier, these are some of the specialist skills that we require on our areas of operation, but some of these members may not necessarily have the necessary qualification to jump in themselves. Hence, we use the tandem technique. And our doctor is safely on the ground. Members will now immediately commence with their duties of doing the requisite reconnaissance on our area here in front. Ladies and gentlemen, part of what we also want to demonstrate here in front for you in preparation for these headquarters that is manned by some terrorist elements in our area, we have also deployed a sniping capability utilizing the new technology weapon anti-material rifle. This rifle is currently configured in its 20 millimeters, and he is deployed somewhere in front of you on the right-hand side of the road. He will then make the initial contact, making sure that high-value targets that he has been scanning the area and have identified are first destroyed. The NTW-20 is essentially an anti-material weapon. It can also be fitted with a 14.5 millimeter barrel as well as a 12.75 Browning barrel. So this is an interchangeable rifle. He will then start engaging targets of high value that he has identified. He will destroy those and make sure that it is safe for the rest of the Special Forces elements that will be conducting a raid in this area to free this area of the deployments that are not required. The NW-20 rifle, ladies and gentlemen, is a proudly South African rifle developed by Denel. This rifle actually held the record for a number of months in 2016, having been holding the record for the longest kill made that was over 2 kilometers. That record has since been broken and it's currently held by some Canadian soldier. Our sniper is ready, ladies and gentlemen, and very shortly, once he has been given the go-ahead, he will then continue. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the accuracy and the consistency of the rifle, and particularly the skill of our sniper as he stands up. Now you can see where he was firing from, and he will be walking back where you will be able to see him passing here in front. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the commander has requested our sniper to still destroy some identified other target, as our raid team is already now then being called in. In support, ladies and gentlemen, of the assault team that will be conducting the raid, we will also conduct an interdiction with multiple rocket launchers to ensure that no support elements will come and reinforce the belligerent elements that are deployed here, for whose destruction we will be conducting this raid. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, to understand that special forces are strategic capabilities of South Africa. Interdiction is successful. The raid is in full swing. To get the authority to conduct a raid of this nature, ladies and gentlemen, is a strategic decision that gets made at the highest level in the country. Once those guidance and guidelines have been issued and they have been worked at the operational level, It is then that those are converted into executable plans that could be done at the tactical level. You must understand, ladies and gentlemen, that although it looks small, the outcomes of actions such as these have got strategic repercussions, not only for the Defence Force, but actually for the region at large. In a simulated situation such as we have today, we are operating this within the auspices of SADC, where it is important for a SADC deployment for these terrorists to be destroyed and taken out of this area, for us to be able to effect peace by bringing in the rest of the elements of the power of the SADC bloc. Ladies and gentlemen, dynamite comes in small packages in the South African National Defence Force. Please observe the firepower in this raid. The green smoke is thrown, always a good sign of success, but also indicating that they will be covering their withdrawal, making sure that as they withdraw, that they are covered by their own smoke, but also from the flank on the right-hand side, covered by their own indirect firepower capability to ensure that they can safely withdraw. Ladies and gentlemen, they do not take any chances, so a number of activities are planned to ensure that a withdrawal of this nature can take place safely and effectively. Important is the information flow, ladies and gentlemen, that confirms that indeed from the headquarters that was here in front, for which they were sent to raid and destroy, they have reported that done successfully. And as they leave, there is a few material that they have put on reserve demolition. As you see, ladies and gentlemen, that last detonation that takes place, making sure then that in line with their report, all enemy equipment that was left after the destruction of this headquarters is also destroyed. This, ladies and gentlemen, is mission accomplished. For special forces, these were members from 5 special forces up in the north of our country. We will now, ladies and gentlemen, continue with the next item on our program, which is the mobility demonstration And the first one of the capabilities we want to show, ladies and gentlemen, is the Gecko vehicle. It will be rolling in from the left, ladies and gentlemen. This is the workhorse of our airborne forces in South Africa. It is the logistic support vehicle of our airborne forces. It is a small 8x8 vehicle that is capable of negotiating just about any terrain you can think of. This vehicle, ladies and gentlemen, has got its own inherent tactical mobility, as you can see, but it can also be used in heliborne operations where it can be slung from underneath our Oryx helicopter, and it can also easily fit in our C-130 Hercules. Observe the versatility of this vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. It can negotiate quite a number of obstacles. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gecko. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to introduce another workhorse for our special forces, the Hornet. Also rolling in from the left. This is another dynamite in small packages, ladies and gentlemen, a 4x4 Hornet vehicle capable of being armed with a 20mm. You can also put a 60mm indirect weapon mounted on these vehicles. They are capable of negotiating equally just about any terrain. The vehicle is mainly used in urban operations, although we have successfully utilized this vehicle also in non-urban environments where the services of our special forces have been required. Particularly on our African continent, where we have been involved in peace missions, this vehicle has come in quite handy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hornet. The next capability, ladies and gentlemen, is the RG-31 vehicle. This vehicle is fitted with the self-remote weapon on top with a 7.62mm machine gun. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a 4x4 vehicle. It is at its base armed with ballistic protection that is upgradable up to a level 4, where it can be able to take a 12.7 round with no problem. You can see how it negotiates the trench, and it can also negotiate various terrains, ladies and gentlemen. The SD row that is mounted on top of the vehicle is a remotely fired weapon, which they will demonstrate now shortly. He just stopped to engage low range. As you can hear, the vehicle is fully automatic. And they will now demonstrate the weapon, the remote weapon on top. The weapon will be operated from inside the cab. They will cock it also from inside the cab, aim and fire it from inside the cab. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the demonstration of the self-defense remotely operated weapon system, and the vehicle will now withdraw. Ladies and gentlemen, the RG-31. The next capability, ladies and gentlemen, has been the workhorse of the South African Army. It will also be rolling in from the left, ladies and gentlemen. We bring you the rattle. You are about to see versatility like no other. A 6x6 vehicle, ladies and gentlemen, capable of negotiating virtually every terrain on the southern plain of the continent. This vehicle comes in a number of variants, both a section variant, also the weapon variants such as the Rattle 90 that you will see later, the Rattle 60, Rattle 81 that carries the 81mm mortar, and as they are going to demonstrate how it goes over the trenches with absolutely no problem. Observe, ladies and gentlemen, as the rattle goes through various forms of terrain and the ease with which it negotiates these. Ladies and gentlemen, the rattle. Our next capability, ladies and gentlemen, also from the left, we are now going to go a little bit heavy. We're introducing the Rooikat Armoured car. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the definition of speed on the battlefield. An 8x8 vehicle armed with a 76mm quick firing gun. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the vehicle with which we do wide reconnaissance, deep reconnaissance. This is the enabling vehicle. You see how it goes through those trenches? It's like it's driving on a flat surface. The combination of a speed and devastating firepower. You have got the 76mm quick firing gun. You also have got a 7.62 machine gun as its secondary armament. And ladies and gentlemen, just a small troop of these provides devastating firepower wherever these vehicles operate, whenever they are required to achieve the missions of the South African National Defence Force. In terms of the negotiation of terrain, look at the ease with which this vehicle goes, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rooikat Armoured car. The next capability, ladies and gentlemen, that we are bringing you is the mainstay of South Africa's land combat power. Ladies and gentlemen, also from the left, we bring you the Oliphant main battle tank. The Oliphant, ladies and gentlemen, is armed with a 105mm quick firing gun, stabilized such that this tank can fire on the move. You feel the ground tremors as it passes in front of you. Ladies and gentlemen, we in the Pride of Lions, we believe that we fight tanks with other tanks, And we have got the absolute confidence in South Africa's main battle tank, the Elephant, knowing that this tank is capable of killing another tank out to 4 kilometers. Ladies and gentlemen, watch the small vehicle here in front of you, because one moment you will see it and the next moment it will be gone. Standing on the right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, is the tank transporter with which we transport our tanks from one point to another. As you see, the Elephant hitching its ride, and it will be getting out of here. Ladies and gentlemen, the Elephant main battle tank. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end then of our mobility demonstration. We will now be starting with our firefighting capability, and with me in the commentary booth is Colonel Meshak Tau, who will be taking us through this. Colonel, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If you look at on your left, you should be able to see an Oryx medium transport helicopter. The Oryx helicopter will demonstrate the firefighting capability utilizing the Bambi bucket. The Bambi bucket will be carrying 2,000 liters of water, and it should be flying at 200-foot AGL. And if it's not in an area like this, it will fly above the highest obstacle. That will be to ensure that the aircraft is safe during that operation. The aircraft will be flown by Major Hank Peterson from 19th Squadron. 19th Squadron is at Air Force Base Hoedspruit. Just to name a few roles of the Oryx helicopter. Okay, as you can hear the sound, the aircraft is now inbound. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the humanitarian missions that we carry out called firefighting. And other missions under humanitarian will be the air-sea rescue, the mountain rescue, the flood relief like we did last year in Mozambique, in the Sofala province, in the city of Beira. And also the air ambulance. And I understand that the Oryx will go and refuel and do a second run. And one of the roles that they perform is VIP transport, trooping, as you saw earlier on. All those special forces, they jumped out of the Oryx helicopter. They also perform CSAR, combat search and rescue. That will be displayed later on. They also perform casual evacuation and medical evacuation. They are also utilized for peace support operations like MONUSCO in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We also utilize the Oryxes to assist our SAPS during the crime prevention. The Oryx helicopter, it has the capability of electronic warfare, which is the radar and comms jamming. Some of the special operations that they carry out is rappelling, fast roping, cargo slinging, rope extraction. Those will be displayed when we perform the combat search and rescue later on. And then we can also do night special operations with the utilization of the NVGs. The helicopter capabilities. The helicopters augment in theater tactical mobility that will be particularly in your remote and inaccessible areas where you can't use your transport aircrafts. And the wide spectrum of helicopter transport roles and missions, as I said, they will range from your humanitarian missions, combat support missions, to assault missions. And then this requires the balanced range of medium and light helicopters. And then on the medium, we have the Oryx, and then the light helicopters, we have the A109. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, they're now coming in for the second run. Like I said, the Oryx will be the medium transport helicopter, and then the light utility will be the A109. And then they have the all-weather day and night capabilities. Like I said, at night, we use NVGs. And like I said, on peace support operations, we are currently busy in the DRC for the MONUSCO. And the Oryx helicopter is based across the country. If I can mention few squadrons, the first one will be 19th Squadron at Air Force Base, Hoedspruit. That's where the one that flew now belongs. Then one of our Oryx squadrons will be 17th Squadron, which is at Air Force Base Swartkop, that's in Pretoria. Then some of these helicopters are also utilized at 87 helicopter school. That will be in Air Force Base Bloemspruit, that's in Bloemfontein. And some are also utilized at 22 squadrons. Those ones can also be utilized for maritime operations. However, when we conduct maritime operations, these aircrafts beyond 50 miles, you have to deploy 2 of them to assist in search and rescues. That will mostly be done in collaboration with the Navy and 35 Squadron, which is based in Cape Town at Air Force Base, Eysterplaat. Then one of our coastal squadrons is 15th Squadron, that's in Air Force Base, Durban. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we move on with the program, we are now going to introduce in the commentary here with me, Major Atai from our Ammunition Corps, and they are going to demonstrate for us the a surprise that they have prepared for us in the form of both the mine demolition as well as the crater. Major, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The next demonstration is the mine. The mine demonstration is conducted by BNS team, Ammunition and Engineering Corps. The mine is used as a trap for enemy. When armored vehicle or personnel drive or step on top of the mine will explode or detonate. The mine is planted in front of us, 300 meters, 12 o'clock. Just have a look there. I'm going to fire on 0, 3, 2, 1, 0. The next demonstration is the crater. The crater is used to deny enemy mobility. It is used to destroy runways and roads. As you look in front of you, you're 11 o'clock. It will be 1,500 meters. Firing on 0, 3, 2, 1, 0. I know that one was I think it's a misfire. Yes, but it's not going to explode. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us do it again, the drill. Firing on 0, 3, 2, 1, 0. It's a misfire.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the things that we experienced. There is a misfire on that specific demolition. Now, we have got a misfire drill that needs to be carried out. Unfortunately, it requires that we wait some 30 minutes before we can get the engineers out there to deal with it. Since this is a demonstration, we are going to skip this part of the demonstration because it's going to put us out in terms of our program. We will therefore then continue with the rest of our program. That misfire drill will still be observed, and once we are done with the program, we will continue with it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to try it one more time. Firing on 0, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, we do have a confirmed misfire, and we are going to continue. Ladies and gentlemen, as we then continue with the next part of our program, you already see smoke. That can only mean one thing. We are once again going to be inserting members of our Pathfinder platoon all the way from Center City, Bloemfontein, 44 Parachute Regiment. They will be then landing here in front, from where they will then take the desert and conduct the rest of the operations from there. This, ladies and gentlemen, is in building up towards the integrated attack that we will be conducting here in front of you later on. We are utilizing the Oryx helicopters from where we have our Pathfinders jumping. They are currently gaining altitude, and they will be out in the air shortly. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first Pathfinder is in the air. He is currently in a free fall mode. If you look high up in the sky towards your left, you should be able to see the second one is also out. The first parachute have opened, the canopy fully developed, and they are on their way. The remaining two have also now opened and are fully en route down. Ladies and gentlemen, Pathfinders are used by a 44 Parachute Regiment to infiltrate areas in the deep where they are able to enter under the cover of darkness, take on a desert, establish our eyes and ears on the ground, feed us with information for us to be able to make and develop our plans such that we are then able to successfully achieve the missions that we are given. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are watching right now is what we called a HAPO, high altitude parachute operation, where we are going to be getting our Pathfinders here in front. The smoke has been thrown to indicate to them the first one is already almost on the ground. You will see, ladies and gentlemen, that these guys are self-sufficient. They jump with their kit so that once they are on the ground, they are then self-sufficient. Okay, our first two are on the ground. The third one is inbound. You will see his kit hanging on his feet. He will drop the kit and then land. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes years of sweat and toil to get these men to the level of proficiency that they are at. And these are indeed the very best that the South African National Defence Force has. These members, ladies and gentlemen, are from the Pathfinder platoon, from 44 Parachute Regiment down in Bloemfontein. They are all safely on the ground. They will then deploy as the ears and eyes of the commander on the ground, and we will then build the scenario further from here on. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we are going to request once again my colleague, Colonel Tau, to tell us a little bit more about the coiler system. Please keep an eye on the big screen that is there in front of you, from where you will be able to see the live feed from the coiler system. The coiler is, if you look from your right-hand side, low altitude, you can see it approaching from your left. I say again, from your right.
And ladies and gentlemen, air power has three important elements that the air component commander can utilize during his planning, which is firepower, that's force; mobility, which is reach; surveillance, which is awareness. On the coiler system, we'll be covering the surveillance. The Argos or the coiler system provides video and thermal imagery, which can be live streamed to the ground station for interpretation. Those two screens that are in front of you, the feed that you get in there is from the coiler system that is fitted on the C208 that is flying in front of you. That Argo system has the airborne operators and the ground station. Airborne operators will be technicians that will be on board the aircraft, and then the ground station will also have the photographers. The system works with line of sight, therefore high areas will interfere with the downlink. The same aircraft that you saw flying now can be used for combat air transport in the following roles: the parachute assault, the air-landed assault, the combat logistics support, the tactical comms flight, the combat search and rescue, combat casualty evacuation, and we can also use it for special operations. That is in the airborne clandestine missions, whereby you can drop the operators behind enemy lines. We can also use it for command and control. And under command and control, it will be for airborne command post, artillery and mortar fire control, flare and smoke drop, pamphlets drop, and message drop. And the same aircraft is the aircraft that we utilize to train our air transport pilots. whereby they will start with what we call the BED course, the Basic Air Transport course, which will be followed by the Advanced Air Transport course. And then once they complete that, depending on whether they go in tactical or VIP, and then we'll streamline them accordingly. Those that are going VIP, they will be trained on the King Air, and then those that are going tactical will be trained on the CASA 212. The aircraft is based in Air Force Base, Waterkloof, that is the home of air transport, at 41 Squadron. And ladies and gentlemen, now I will hand over to Lieutenant Colonel Vilakazi, call sign Voltron. He will cover the Reiki and the 2v1.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. This part of the exercise will be the battlefield surveillance. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of combat support operations, the South African Air Force air power capability will now be demonstrated. The aspects of Air Force operations carried out in coordination with land forces in order to gain and maintain a favorable air situation in the area of operations. This includes to prevent movement of opposing forces into and within the combat zone and to seek out and destroy these forces and their supporting installations. Ladies and gentlemen, the aspects of the Air Force operations also are there to assist in the attainment of ground or naval force objectives. This is done through joint operations. Ladies and gentlemen, the air combat operations objectives are also achieved through functions like air reconnaissance operations, counter-air operations, offensive air support operations, air transport operations, and also maritime air operations. For battlefield surveillance, air reconnaissance operations from the Air Force will be demonstrated by the Hawk Mark 120 from 85 Combat Flying School. The Hawk Mark 120 will simulate a visual air reconnaissance as well as the imagery air reconnaissance mission. The Hawk Mark 120 will be escorted by a grip and swing roll aircraft using inboard sensors to scan the area for any airborne threats in a counter-air operational function. The objective of the reconnaissance run, which is to provide timely information on the following: the location, composition, activities, and movements of opposing forces. This includes also geographical and meteorological data of a particular area to the relevant ground and air component commanders. This is done for target allocation and overall situational awareness. Just a few capabilities for the Hawk Mark 120, ladies and gentlemen. The Hawk is a transonic leading fighter trainer, lift, encompassing ideal handling characteristics for fighter training, and it is capable of demonstrating supersonic flight in a dive, if the conditions allow. The aircraft can train aspirant fighter pilots in the South African Air Force in all aspects of modern fighter flying. In the case of the Mark 120, the cockpit has been specifically tailored to seamlessly and cost-effectively train pilots graduating from the South African Air Force Astra Basic Trainer to the South African Air Force Gripen Frontline Trainer. The power-to-weight ratio and good situational correction, ladies and gentlemen, and good sustained turn rates provide an ideal flight envelope and performance domain to step from the Astra to the Gripen. The Hawk has an open architecture of avionics system which allows for efficient training in the system's environment and gives the aircrew a high situational awareness. Aircrew awareness is further enhanced by a simulated radar, multifunctional displays, and hands-on throttle and stick, that is HOTAS. External fuel tanks enhance the range of the aircraft. The combination of the above factors ensures a very capable leading fighter trainer for our South African Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, the application and placement of the Hawk Mark 120, basically the Hawk Mark 120 in all its aspects of air combat training in the South. The ground crews, it trains the ground crews and from aircraft type conversion to full mission training during deployment. This includes joint training with other arms of service and participation in operational training exercises.
Red one, Papa Victor. Yes, Papa Victor, I read you 55. How do you read me? I read you 505, over. Your helicopters are in the air. Send you by your call. Copy, over.
Ladies and gentlemen, by nature, the Hawk's inherent training capabilities, certain collateral operational tasks in a low-threat environment were envisaged for the aircraft. These were developed and implemented over the last few years and includes the following: search and rescue, communications, border patrol, reconnaissance, and limited close air support. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hawk and Gripen for the reconnaissance. Ladies and gentlemen, what you're seeing in front of you is the Gripen aircraft, which is a swing roll, 9G, fifth, 4 to 5 generations aircraft. Now it's circulating over the operational area, and there could be a possible SAM launch where you will see the electronic warfare countermeasures being dispensed. What you see is the demonstration of the electronic warfare countermeasures being simulated, that there's a SAM launch from the ground, and the systems on board and the pilot himself are deploying flares. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item, it will be the offensive counter-air operations, which will be the 2 versus 1. Simulating that this is a close area of operations, offensive counter-air intercept mission is then activated by the air component commander for the 2 escort Gripens to engage an opposing force aircraft. The opposing force aircraft simulated by the Hawk Mark 120 will approach the target area in front of us from the west, which is to your right-hand side. The 2 Gripens will approach from the east, which is to your left-hand side. As the 2 Gripens engage the enemy aircraft in the target area, they will use commentary and control to gain and set up for an entry onto the OP-4 aircraft for the weapons release, be it missile or cannon attack. The objectives of the counter-air operations is to gain and maintain favorable air situation, thereby preventing opposing force from effectively interfering with the friendly surface and air operations. This is accomplished through the destruction of or neutralization of the opposing forces' offensive and defensive air systems. On completion, the 2 Gripens will continue with a combat air patrol above the target area to maintain local air superiority. Ladies and gentlemen, I will urge you to stand ready and hold on to your seats as the 3 aircraft rather, the 2 appearing from the left-hand side and the other one will appear from the right-hand side. They will cross in front of us and they will commence with the ACM, which is the Air Combat Maneuvers demonstration. The 2v1 ACM is a synchronized display for demonstration purposes only, demonstrating the air combat maneuvering capability of the Gripen aircraft. Throughout the exercise, ladies and gentlemen, I will not be continuing with commentary as there will be thunder overhead as the 3 aircraft are engaging each other. Ladies and gentlemen, take note. The single Hawk will be the opposing forces aircraft and the 2 Gripens will act as the own forces aircraft. The idea is the 2 Gripens to engage the Hawk and finally shoot it down to secure the operational area. However, the Hawk will not die down slowly. It will also try by all means to outmaneuver the 2 Gripens, also by doing its own ACM and attempting to shoot down one of the Gripens to ensure that it survives. However, due to the air superiority of the Gripen itself, the Hawk aircraft simulated as the opposing forces aircraft stands no chance. Also, ladies and gentlemen, get your cameras ready. It will be fast and furious overhead the range And also make sure that you have those ear defenders ready and enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, as we await the Gripen itself, if you look to your right, your right hand side, just to touch on a few capabilities of the Gripen. The Gripen is described as the first generating swing roll fighter aircraft. Aerodynamically, it utilizes inherently unstable design coupled with fly-by-wire control, a Canard delta wing layout, and a good power-to-weight ratio to provide a very agile aircraft capable of sustaining 9G totally when it is in full power. Its fully integrated digital avionics design also allows for seamless integration of systems and data fusion, providing the aircrew with superior awareness. Ladies and gentlemen, you can start to listen out and look to your left and right hand side, the two aircraft as they approach. They will cross just in front of you. Enjoy the show. The Hawk will come around, and also the Gripen on the left-hand side will come around while the other Gripen is trying to engage the Hawk. Commentary and control is continuing throughout the whole mission. The one Gripen is going to peel off to the right and will be in a supporting role while the other Gripen is chasing down the Hawk, as you can see on your left-hand side. The Hawk itself is trying by all means to negate and try to push the Gripen outside the firing parameters so that he can survive. However, he's just alone. There's only two of the Gripens against him. Now the other partner for the Gripen is peeling off to the right and saying, mate, take the other one. It's your turn now. The Hawk is still trying to outrun him by all means, but he stands no chance. At the end of the show, gentlemen and ladies, when the Hawk is simulated to be shot down, it will acknowledge that by doing a straight roll down to the range. There he rolls. That's to acknowledge that he has been shot down and he has been defeated. The Gripens have won again. Now our airspace is safe. As they join up for the flypast, ladies and gentlemen, the Hawk Mark 120 is from 85 Combat Flying School, and it is led by Acting Officer Commanding Lieutenant Colonel Scott Logie, call sign Prowler. The two Gripens also from 2 Squadron. The lead aircraft is led by Officer Commanding 2 Squadron Lieutenant Colonel Josiah Mashaba, call sign Burbul. On his wing in the other Gripen is Major Cooper, call sign Spartan. Ladies and gentlemen, grab your cameras ready as they come by with the salute for the flypast. Ladies and gentlemen, the Air Force that inspires confidence and the sounds of freedom, as you can hear. That concludes the 2v1 display, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Voltron. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed, the sounds of freedom from the Air Force that inspires confidence. Thank you very much, Voltron. Ladies and gentlemen, the next part of our demonstration is going to involve a lot of air traffic from our rotary wing aircraft. As I had given an early warning earlier, we please request that you close your umbrellas. If you have got one of those hats that don't stick to your head, please also hold it with your hand or remove it, because these poses a serious threat to our aircraft. The aircraft will be operating, among others, from behind you over the areas where you are seated, and your umbrellas and hats poses a serious safety risk to these aircraft. We request, please, ladies and gentlemen, we know the sun is scorching. However, we request that you please close your umbrellas. I can still see umbrellas that are open. I do not know if I'm maybe not audible out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we request the umbrellas to be closed, please. Okay, we are waiting for that one last white umbrella to also be closed. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the helicopters will be now ordered to break out of the hold. As you might have realized, they've been holding just on the other side of the N1 to your right-hand side. They will be approaching the area here in front. We're going to simulate a combat search and rescue operation, and we're going to break it down in some phases. First of all, the aircraft that will be involved here, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have Augusta 109 light utility helicopters. We're going to have the Lynx, and we're going to have the Oryx, all of whom will be escorted by the Royval Combat Support helicopter. So we're going to have quite a number of rotary wing assets that will be operational right here in front of us. And I'm going to be joined in the commentary by Lieutenant Colonel Makubela from the South African Medical Health Services, who will be unpacking this combat search and rescue operation for us as soon as we commence. Colonel Makubela, welcome.
very good afternoon to all members seated. The activity to be conducted this afternoon or to be simulated involves the searching and the location of downed aircrew which must be saved. The activity is conducted by members from 7 Medical Battalion Group, members from 500 Squadron, and members from 1 Parachute Battalion. The A109 helicopter that we see going to our right simulate a downed aircraft or helicopter whereby there are patients that must be rescued by the medical personnel. The members from 500 Squadron are going to rappel from the Oryx helicopter. They will descend down to the ground. They will search and locate the injured aircrew members before the medical personnel can come and stabilize the package and take them to a medical facility for further medical intervention. As soon as the members are on the ground, they will be reinforced by an element from 1 Parachute Battalion, which will provide ground protection to them while their medical personnel are trying to access the injured personnel. The activity is conducted in situations or in terrains whereby the medical elements may not be able to access the injured by road. They will have to be extracted or reached by means of a helicopter mode. These members conducting this operation, they have been trained to can conduct these rescue operations and also medical. They can stabilize the patient on the ground, pre-package, and have the patient ready for further medical intervention. The helicopters that are approaching from our right, they will be members from 500 Squadron who will be rappelling to the ground, who will be the grouping that will be searching for the injured aircrew prior to the medical elements rappelling down to go and attend to the injured patients. The helicopter that was to our immediate front had members from 500 Squadron who went down by rappelling. Those are the team members who are going to search and locate the injured members. The members to the helicopter that was further to our front, the members who went down by fast roping, members from 1 Parachute Battalion, are the ones who will be providing perimeter protection so that the patient is attended to in a secure environment.
And the helicopter that was flying over the Oryxes, it was our Royal helicopter, which is the combat attack helicopter. And then that helicopter was busy conducting what we call the close air support or the top cover for the two transport helicopters. The primary role of the combat support helicopter is assault operation, and it's also to attack and destroy the hard points and targets, and to neutralize the enemy's air defense system within the target area, to enable the ground force, the ground assault force to be landed on or close to the target, as we saw earlier on. And then its secondary role is to protect the helicopter assault task group during the air movement, landing, and ground tactical phase of the operation.
What will be simulated is two patients. One patient will be hoisted by means of a sling. The next patient is a stretcher casualty, which has been prepared by the medical elements as soon as it was identified, and we pre-packaged him. Then there will be a stretcher jockey who will descend from an Oryx helicopter, who will be a member medically trained, going to collect the patient who was pre-packaged by other trained medical members on the ground for evacuation for further medical intervention to a medical facility. The firing that has been continued is basically intended to protect our own forces on the ground while they're busy trying to rescue our downed air crew members. The A109 helicopter has just retrieved one of the injured patients who will be receiving further medical attention, while the next patient will have been preloaded or packaged by now on the stretcher for extraction.
And as these activities continue, the combat support helicopter provides the protection for the parameter.
Second stretcher patient is airlifted. One thing that must be realized that the stretcher jockey, the way he is rigged on the stretcher, he must be able to can observe, see the conditions of the patient. He must be able to be rigged at a level whereby he will be able to can monitor the patient while being extracted. There was a rope that was attached onto the stretcher when it left from the ground. That rope is mainly intended to ensure that the stretcher jockey and the patient, they don't spin while they're being extracted into the helicopter. The members who are in our immediate front, the guys who went down by rappelling, they will be hot extracted by means of a rope. And also the members who came down by fast roping, they also, a helicopter will land in our immediate front. They will embark into the aeroplane. Then now all safety has been provided. They will depart. Those are the members who went down by repelling. As we have observed, the members still have got their weapons pointed. They are still providing a means of protection to themselves as well.
And as that activity continues, we saw that the combat support helicopter still continued with the close air support and to provide protective fire between the pickup zones. And as you saw, while en route, they can also provide security of movement for the front, flanks, and rear of helicopter formations. And the Rafale attack helicopter is based at 16th Squadron. That's in Air Force Base Bloomspruit in Bloemfontein, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Shao Ramuiponi. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the son of Limpopo. He's from Molechi in Polokwane.
Orange helicopter approaching from the right. It is going to land onto the ground, and the remaining elements on the ground who are providing protection will go embark into the aeroplane, into the helicopter, and also they will be taken out of this area whereby the activity has been concluded.
Ladies and gentlemen, all elements have been retrieved and extracted. That concludes the search and rescue operation.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we do in terms of sustainability is to ensure that our forces, particularly our airborne forces, have got sustainment wherever and whenever they deploy. We are now going to demonstrate the cargo drop, where we will be dropping their sustainment goodies for them to be able to survive. I have got with me in the booth Captain Masiu, who will talk us through this cargo drop that is going to take place from a CASA 212. Captain, welcome.
Captain Masu from 101 Supply Unit. We are based in Tech Base. Today we will do the aerial delivery of the light container delivery system. With this system you can carry water, food, ammunition, or any things that the airborne forces might need on the ground. This aerial delivery, there is a 4-man team inside the CASA 212 that will conduct this aerial delivery. And we will do the operational drop. The minimum height it will be 500 feet from the ground. Once the CASA start to pitch, you will see the light container delivery system will go out. There is the light container delivery system going out. Then our forces on the ground, they will receive their food, ammunition, or anything that they have required from 101 Air Supply Unit. The parachute are fully deployed.
The aircraft that dropped the parachute is from 44 Squadron. That's at Air Force Base Waterkloof in Pretoria. That is where our transport pilots commence with their tactical flying. And the aircraft is flown by Major Boitumelo Keta. Major Boitumelo Keta was born on the 25th of January in Pretoria, at the township called Atteridgeville. He joined the SNDF in the year 2000 as an artillery in the army. He went to military academy where he obtained his bachelor's degree in technology and management. He joined the South African Air Force as a pupil pilot and received his wings in 2009. He then went to 41 Squadron, where he completed his bed course at the Advanced Air Transport course. And then he further obtained his BCAT command on the C208, then moved to 44 Squadron. He is currently a BCAT commander and a maintenance test pilot on the C212. The C212 is also utilized on the following roles: personnel flights, logistic flights, armament flights, special flights, and communication flights. It can also be utilized for emergency services. That will be for casualty evacuation, medical evacuation, and then it also performs the role of combat air transport. And then in that role, it can provide parachute assault, air-landed assault, combat logistics support, tactical comms flight, combat search and rescue, combat casualty evacuation. And it can also provide special operations. That's airborne clandestine operations by dropping our special forces in the behind enemy lines. Then it can also be utilized for command and control for airborne command post. just to cover the specs of what the CASA dropped now. They dropped a light cargo parachute, which are normally 80 kgs to 240 kgs. And then they use the A7 container, which is packed and rigged by the air supply platoon. And actually, the CASA can perform that with the paratroopers, whereby on the first run-in, they will release the paratroopers, and then on the second run-in, they can release the containers.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now getting a little bit more serious with the build-up. We are now going to go into the joint integrated as well as the mechanized attack. We start off, as is customary, with an air interdiction strike that will be conducted by 4 Hawks. They will be also then followed by the 3 Gripens. They will do both the bomb. They are carrying today Mark 81s. This is 150 kilograms of pure trouble. They will be dropping them right in front of you on the Charlie Coke, and we will start off first with the Hawks. In the formation of the Hawks, ladies and gentlemen, they will be led by Major Mandisa Mfaku, call sign Comet, who is the pride of the South African Air Force and South Africa in general, being the first African female fighter pilot. The interdiction strike, ladies and gentlemen, is 2 minutes out. They will be running in from behind you. The first run of the 4 Hawks will be the bomb strike. The Hawks will then clear the area, go into a hold, allow the Gripens that will also be on a bomb run. We will then, through the support of the FAC, call the Hawks back for a gun run that will also be done in the same direction. Ladies and gentlemen, the Hawks. They have already released. Observe the impact area at Charlie Coke, right in front of you. With air interdiction, ladies and gentlemen, we are ensuring that the total disruption and dislocation of the enemy force is achieved, whereby the elements in the deep will not be able to provide any reinforcements to the enemy that will be engaged with in the close area. Ladies and gentlemen, the second running of the Grippens on, and already they have released the bombs. Keep your eye on the objective. And Gagam. It is important, ladies and gentlemen, to note that a safe environment is created in this battle space now for ground forces to also begin to shorten distance to their various deployment areas as we begin with the integration. Going into position with an echelon left to the left is the Rattle 90s. They are armed, ladies and gentlemen, with the 90mm quick firing gun. They will deploy in an echelon left.
Confirm this will be a live broadcast.
And they have already made contact with belligerent forces on the objectives in front. They will concentrate on the hard targets on the objective. Once the Air Force interdiction has concluded, ladies and gentlemen, the landward indirect firepower capabilities takes over. The 120mm mortar systems deployed in the indirect fire group to the left of the gun line in front of you. The firefight, ladies and gentlemen, will continue.
Okay, we can continue.
Where own forces will ensure that the initiative sees through the interdiction of the South African Air Force is maintained throughout until the overall mission of own forces has been achieved.
Authenticate Papa. Correct, ready for my brief. Send over. Ready for my brief. Go ahead.
To the right of the gun line, ladies and gentlemen, in front of you directly is the 40mm automatic grenade launcher, one of the support weapons in our infantry. As our anti-tank elements are still engaged in the firefight, we are using Rattle 90s, ladies and gentlemen, because of the restriction posed on us by the size of the range. You will now see that mechanized infantry has been ordered to conduct a half integration with the anti-tank elements in front. They will eventually go into a fully fledged integration where they will eventually then take over the firefight from the anti-tank elements in front. All support weapons involved in this gun line will eventually then be called into action as soon as sufficient proximity has been achieved between own forces and belligerent forces in front.
531 East 029er. Degrees 39.524. Golf, Obi Talk on. Hotel northeast 700 meters. India east and back to Victor. Juliet, Flot, northeast 700 meters.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the infantry has achieved full integration. The commander has ordered the troops to debus. They are currently in the process of debussing, after which they will then take over the fight using the fire and movement technique to ensure that maximum firepower is brought to bear on the belligerent forces in front.
Keiko, go ahead.
For additional air support, as may be required, and this we will simulate differently, ladies and gentlemen. The commander will be ordering the front line of own troops to mark their position utilizing smoke, so they will then float, so that they can then allow our air assets to identify exactly where is our front line of own troops, so that they can then bring their own fire support to bear in a safe environment.
Okay, go read that correct. Next call leaving IP. Next call will be leaving IP. Be advised, Flot will be smoke on the ground. Smoke will be yellow. Copy, yellow smoke for the Flot.
Ladies and gentlemen, the FAC has already made contact with the Hawks. He has given them the exact coordinates of the target in front, and the Hawks will be coming in on a gun run to ensure that total destruction of the identified target is achieved. You can monitor the communication between our FAC and the Hawk, ladies and gentlemen, coming through on your speakers where you are. The firefight continues. The indirect firepower capability of the infantry has taken over.
Gunners, Scarecrow. Go. Okay, artillery has been stopped. At 1 minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hawks 1 minute out as you have monitored. They will be on a gun run.
Stop firing. Roger. Go flat on the ground.
Okay, Flot is on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, Flot marked with yellow smoke, indicating the front line of own troops for the Hawk to identify the line beyond which they can then engage the enemy positions. Hawks running in from behind on a gun run.
Number 2 is cleared out. 2, clear out. Carry on. And 4, you cleared out. Gunner Scarecrow, good effect on target, good effect, good shooting, good shooting. Gunner copies, and re-established on the hold. Scarecrow. Roy Fox, Scarecrow.
It takes absolute coordination and focus, ladies and gentlemen.
Clear onto the range.
As you can see, you have got the coordination of ground and air-delivered weapons on the same objective.
Roger, Scarecrow and Gunner going 1322.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Roy Falk combat support helicopter has also now been cleared in hot. They will be providing support to the ground forces engaged in the firefight in front. They will start their engagement initially with the rockets, the 70mm rockets, after which they will later on be joined by the Lynx, where they will be doing the gun runs. The Lynx will have the 12,7 and the Oryx, I say again, the Roy Falk with the 20mm. We are on the final assault stage, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, now in terms of the final assault, we have cleared in the Roy Falk on a gun run. The Roy Falk is 1 minute out, it's approaching from the right. It will pitch right in front of you, and okay, ladies and gentlemen, the Roy Falk will reposition again. He will reposition again, and he will be coming in for the gun run. For safety purposes, for safety reasons, ladies and gentlemen, the pilot is worried about some members that are still debussed among the vehicles there, and we are quickly sorting that out as he repositions. Ladies and gentlemen, as the mechanized platoon withdraws from the objective, the success has been achieved as was ordered. We have requested the Roy Falk to rather land and do a shutdown due to timing restrictions that we have, because we have to reposition ourselves now for the night demonstration that we are going to be conducting from 18:30 onwards. We request at this time that you allow first, please, the Chief of the National Defence Force with his guest to move from their position through the corridor here to the white tent at the back. And for the rest of us, we request then that you utilize the time between now and 18:30 to get yourself some refreshments, grab something to bite, and we will be ready again at 18:30. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes the day demo.